war never changes.
Hollywood is out of touch. I know, what a shocker. Thank you for stating the obvious, Kanga. We've all had our fill of the superhero Marvel slop that comes out every year, along with the constant reboots and unneeded sequels. Gun to their head, Hollywood writers wouldn't be able to come up with any ideas besides Fast and Furious 47 and Avengers 8. Then once those flop, they'll put their grubby hands on our favorite series and adapt them into live action. And let me tell you, do not let them cook. Still, amongst all the dog shit, a few gems have to be hidden, right? Maybe Hollywood can occasionally get something good? Let me dig around here and try to find what I'm looking for. Bad, good, great, and peak! I finally found it, the greatest video game adaptation of all time. And I'm seriously not joking, guys. This show is like crack. It only took me 2 days to finish all 8 episodes. But how is it so good? What makes it so different? Let's dive into the world of Fallout and see how they were able to create a masterpiece in an industry full of shit.
Who are you who do not know your history?
Set in an alternate timeline, the Fallout universe portrays the aftermath of a nuclear war. After World War II, nuclear technology rapidly advanced, leading to the emergence of a retro-futuristic society. However, the future wasn't the great, bright, advanced society you might imagine, as dwindling resources eventually led to conflict between nations. The US told China, no balls you won't do it, and these motherfuckers decided to press the big red button out of spite. Y'all really gonna end the world like this? Luckily for us though, before the war, corporations heavily invested in the construction of vaults all across America, which were meant to protect the population from radiation. However, unknown to the inhabitants of these vaults, they were actually social experiments to study human behavior. If you enjoy the effort I put into this video, then consider subscribing. Now back to your scheduled programming. Outside the safety of these vaults, the landscape is scarred with wreckage and filled with radiation. Living organisms still inhabit this environment, but they were greatly affected, with mutated people, flora, and fauna being common. Fast forwarding to 2296, we follow the journey of a woman leaving Vault 33. Her name is Lucy, and she's willing to venture into the dangerous wastelands of Los Angeles for her mission. Along the way, she encounters a squire named Maximus, who's in an organization called the Brotherhood of Steel, as well as a badass ghoul bounty hunter, both of whom have their own agendas. I would tell you more, but that would ruin the whole point of you watching the show. And I'm not here to steal your Fallout virginity. So instead, let's analyze how faithful it is to the source material. Fallout was always going to be a pretty hard adaptation, considering the thousands of hours of lore available from the games. Despite this, the producers took the challenge head on, said no pussy shit, and put the show in the same timeline as the games. In stark contrast to recent stinkers like The Last Airbender and Halo, plenty of input was received from the creators of the games, and producers actually played the games for their research. By putting in this effort, they were able to completely match the violent, somber, and comedic tone of the games. Furthermore, a lot of nods to the games were included for existing fans, like how they hacked computers, the sound of radiation, and Lucy's naivety at the beginning of the show being an analog for a first-time Fallout player.
Oh, YouTube, sorry.
All these things are great, but pale in comparison to the coolest thing included, which is definitely the body targeting and kill cam. Let me give you a little showcase of what we're dealing with. Overall, the Fallout show stuck to its source material pretty well and maintained its integrity. This show could have been a dumpster fire and tanked the entire Fallout franchise, but thankfully we got a great show instead. Guess what? I've never played Fallout before. I know, that might have some of you scratching your heads, but it actually gives me a really unique perspective on the show. As a standalone piece of media, it's amazing, and you don't have to know anything about Fallout to enjoy it. The opening sequence of the show is so good that no matter who you are, it draws you straight in. The acting is great, and the ghoul completely steals the show. He's a mess of a man, and you never know what he's gonna do. Is he completely devoid of care for the world? Or deep down, does he still actually care about people? As a philosophy, the show generally takes a show not tell approach, which keeps the story chugging along and prevents it from becoming stagnant. Seeing Lucy go from an innocent vault dweller to a Badland bitch is so entertaining and also hilarious. Her and Maximus can be so crass and goofy, and it cracks me up every time they do one of their bits.
They make you feel so good. You want to make my cock explode now?
Moving on to the CGI, it can be a bit dodgy, but for the most part, it's a positive. I also love the practicals they use for the vaults in the town Philly. It really grounds the world and fits the theme of the show. Big, wide shots of the characters walking in the wasteland further build up this tone, and when combined with the old-timey music, the show has a completely unique identity.
I was humming a tune.
To the world that was, mankind shall never see its like again.
If you're a new fan, you probably have no idea how much this show affected previous entries in the series. Being canon to the timeline means fans are going to dig through every frame of the show for more lore, and inevitably, someone is going to say,
Hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
Many Fallout fans have already pointed to specific parts of the series that they believe the new show has destroyed, and accused Bethesda and Amazon of defiling their sacred world. Do I believe these claims have any merit? Hell no. They're just a bunch of little babies crying because someone dared to go in a direction they don't like for the series. There are no major inconsistencies in the new Fallout show, and I'll prove it. New Vegas, the golden child of the Fallout franchise. At the end of the final episode, we're shown New Vegas, and it's definitely seen better days. This is a huge juxtaposition to the last time it appeared, where it was thriving in a regional power. Now, I understand that this outcome doesn't align one-to-one with any of the endings for New Vegas, but use your brains and stop crying about it not fitting into the timeline. The Fallout TV show takes place 18 whole years after New Vegas. A lot of shit can happen in that time frame. And remember, this isn't no regular world. It's motherfucking Fallout. For all we know, they all could have been eaten by giant salamanders or two-headed bears. When Lucy and co venture into Vault 4, they're shown a timeline of the world to catch them up to speed about what's happened in the region. Because Lucy's essentially been living under a ton of literal rocks. Anyways, the timeline says the city of Shady Sands fell in 2277 and then points to a nuke. But Fallout New Vegas takes place in 2288, and we hear about Shady Sands, so checkmate, Bethesda tard. Except it's not that simple. If we look at the board and follow the logic of each event having its own space on the board, then the nuclear blast would be a separate event that happened years later. Bruh, I can't even make this shit up. As I was making this video, the creators of the show explicitly push back against this rhetoric. Give this a listen.
Anything like
All I could say is we're threading it tight there, but the bomb falls just after the events of New Vegas. Like that's when Shady Sands.
So basically, the fall of Shady Sands. Yeah, it doesn't mean a nuke necessarily.
Correct.
All of this really just boils down to Fallout fans being scared that the big boogeyman Bethesda is going to ruin their favorite game and look at anything new in the series with a jaded lens. As a Star Wars fan, do you know how lucky you guys are? Like seriously, almost everything in your series is good. Even Fallout 76 is decent now, which I'll touch on later. Stop being entitled and jaded and just enjoy greatness.
Truth is, the game was rigged from the start.
Ever since the show released, many fans have speculated that it's just a marketing ploy by Bethesda. And you know what? They're probably right. But that doesn't change the fact that it's a great watch. They purposely leave a lot of stuff unexplained, like the Enclave, Pip-Boys, and the mutated monsters in the wild, which encourages fans to look more into the universe. More evidence for Bethesda's motivations is the fact that Fallout 76 has been completely revamped and redeemed over the past 2 to 3 years, and Fallout 4 is set to receive its first update in a long time on April 25th. Regardless of if you think Bethesda intended for this to print out money, you can't argue against the stats. Shit, I even bought the entire Fallout series on Steam because it was on sale.
It's said, war never changes. Men do. Through the roads they walk. And this road has reached its end.
I implore you to check out the Fallout TV show and come back and comment your thoughts on it down below when you finish. It's genuinely worth your time and nothing like the Hollywood slop that has taken over streaming services. Maybe this can be a turning point for adaptations and we can get a lot of good shit in the future. Because evidently, you can make a great show and also a shit ton of money. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I might explore the Fallout universe a bit more in the future, depending on how this performs. I can't wait to see you next time. Bye!